start things off, first, I'd just like to introduce myself. My name is Avery. I have been here at RMLS for a good while now. Today's class is deep dive into RMLS web search, and this is definitely one of my favorite classes here because there is a ton to learn. So let's get into it today. So first up on our main page here, now let's talk about our first search. I'd like to mention this quick search. This I'm just going to briefly talk about on the main page. This is an easy way to bring up specific listings. It does have the ability to search for a wider kind of broad stroke of listings, but this is the best tool for just like, all right, I know one or two things I want to search down. This quick search is a great way to find it. You can search first off listings. So as you would guess, just, any listing on the site right now. You can search by MLS number, and you can see you can enter in multiple MLS numbers if you add a comma in between. You can also search by addresses in this quick search right here. Just make sure to keep you can see there's no street direction in here. Don't enter that in, just the address without that. And you can also search an address range here. So right here, we've got 1,000, 2 dots to 2,000 Main Street. This is going to search everywhere from 1,000 up to 2,000 on Main Street. Pretty awesome. It's super nice that you can just enter in that range, search it. That's all you need to do. Just put the 2 dots between the address numbers and it'll search everything between those. Next up, we also have our tax search. This is going to give you that tax information, that, historical tax info, be able to look at all sorts of extra information that's stored that is not shown on the listings. And you can search by MLS numbers here as well. However, since this is tax IDs, you have to put a, as you want to call it, either a hashtag or a pound symbol, depending on your generation. Enter that in, and then you can put your MLS numbers with commas in between if you want to search multiple. You could search by name by putting an equal sign first, and you can also enter in multiple names by putting an ampersand between each of the names. And then you can also just do a basic address search as well in the tax information, and it will try to find what is at that address for you. Then finally, on our quick searches, we also have our roster search. If you want to search agents or offices, etc., you can search by phone number, you can search by email, or just by name. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward, not difficult at all to find those if you want to just go in, enter that information there, find the specific person. Now, there are a few searches we have, a few different ways you can go about searching the whole wide database of listings that we have. First up here on the main page, we have these quick buttons to map search and advanced search. Map search is pretty nice, but advanced search really is the way to go, and that's what this class is going to focus on. But before we hop into anything like that, I'm going to go ahead and click this search dropdown, and we can see all of the different searches we have here. So we have our map search, which kind of, as the name implies, is going to be just a search of the whole map. You can look around on the map, make an area on the map to search, and hunt around in that area. Quick MLS. This is just going to be a quick, dirty, easy search. Simple, straightforward, but not very powerful in the way that it can't have quite as many criteria and stuff as something like the advanced MLS search has. Advanced MLS, like I said, is really going to be what we spend the bulk of this class talking about when we talk about searching. It is powerful, it's awesome, and it's really, the name is advanced MLS, but it is not difficult to use. It is honestly pretty easy, and it can do all of the things that all the other searches can do and more. I strongly recommend, if you want to play around with any of the searches, advanced MLS is the way to go. We also have the streets/address search, which is pretty straightforward as well, but it's going to be a search based on streets/addresses like you saw on the quick search there. MLS number, if you want to just enter in MLS numbers, bang, 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 get those in there, search them. And then we also have an MLS history search. Next up, we also have a few different tax searches. So these are for searching the tax information of a listing instead of the listing information, or I guess of a lot instead of a listing information. You could search by addresses, by the tax ID if you have that ready, or just the tax main search, super easy. We've got an actual expired search and hot sheet profiles, and then open houses and broker tours. Pretty straightforward, but we aren't going to really be spending any time talking about those today because honestly, this advanced MLS search could take up an hour and a half by itself, and we want to make sure we could talk about prospecting profiles and the stuff like that as well today. So first up, let's go ahead and hop into an advanced MLS search. Okay, so as you can see, I have a ton of criteria already entered in here. We don't want to see all this, so I'm just going to go ahead and click that clear. And when we do, that's going to reset us back to a very basic search, all of the defaults, right back to normal, how you would see it if you were a first-time user just entering the advanced search for the first time. Pretty plain and simple. Now, before we get started though, there are a few special things that I want to talk about that are not just only for searching. If it's blue, you must do. You're going to hear that in pretty much all of the RMLS web classes. Regardless of what it is, it's going to run into the blue requirement sometime. These shaded blue areas, property category, status, MLS area, map range, stuff like this, anytime you see this blue color, that means it is a required field. You aren't going to be able to continue on. You're not going to be able to do your search, to run your search. You're not going to be able to upload your CMA profile. You're not going to be able to make your prospecting profile. You're not going to be able to upload your listing, et cetera, et cetera. No matter what it is, you're not going to be able to do it until these blue fields are all filled out. If it's blue, you must do. You have to fill that out. Now you might say, okay, well, blue is important. Blue needs to be filled out. What's this green down here? Green doesn't mean anything. Green just is, a color to separate these out. These fields aren't required. You don't need to fill them out. They're just frequently used, really common, kind of like a recommendation rather than a requirement. These you're going to have to do to continue this green. It's just like, well, we suggest you at least do some of these because they're going to really help your searches. I also want to mention, okay, actually, let's get going. Let's open up our first criteria, which is property categories. I'm mostly opening this up to give you a warning. As you can see, we can check as many boxes as possible. We could be searching residential, multifamily, commercial, industrial, and lots and lands and commercial leases. Oh, nope, not that one. We could search all 4 of these all at once if we really wanted, but I highly suggest you do not. These categories do not share the same criteria. While one may have, master bedroom or primary bedroom, or it might have bathrooms or something on it, others might not have those same criteria. And you might be missing something. You might be saying, well, where's this criteria? It's one of the things we need to search by. These all don't share criteria. So when you select more, you're missing out, and it's going to take out those criteria that they all don't share. So I recommend if you want to do searches for multiple property categories, set them as separate searches. Run them separately, and that's going to be a lot smoother for you. I'll show you how you can save a search later. So that way you can save maybe the criteria you want, and then switch it to a multifamily, switch it to a lots of land, whatever you're looking for, swap it over to that. Going to be a lot smarter and a lot easier to do it that way. So let's just keep this as residential, because most of the time residential is what you're going to be dealing with. Our next blue category here, the required one, is our status. So as you see, active, bumpable buyer, and short sale pending are all selected by default. These are the most commonly searched 3 criteria on the website. Understandably why, active is an active listing. A mobile buyer can still be bumped, and a short sale pending, it's only pending, and it's short sale. Who knows, you might be able to get a better deal on it. You might find something you're looking for that is that category. Good to go. So we do, however, have quite a list, and you've probably heard all of these exhaustively in orientation, but I'm just going to go over a few of them real quick. First off, coming soon, no showing. Obviously, as the name implies, these are coming soon and they're not allowed to be shown. So while you can dig through and look through them, you can't quite, go in and see them yet because no showings are allowed. And you can't do, you won't be able to view any public marketing for them or anything like that. Pending's another great one to search for, just because that one is especially helpful for if you're going to do CMAs, because they, you see how much they're probably going to sell for. Same with solds and sold not listed. And when we select sold and sold not listed, I do want to mention something real quick. This is going to search every single listing that's been sold or sold not listed through our entire history of RMLS Web. That's a lot of years of houses to go by. Way too many to do in one search. So if you hit this handy dandy days back button, this will allow you to click this calendar and select a time period for how far back you want to search. Maybe you only want to see 6 months. You click OK, apply to checked. And now we're only searching for listings that have been in the system in that amount of time. So now we're not going to see everything from, who even knows how old. We're just going to be able to filter it out and see things that are going to be relevant. And this is especially, once again, this isn't the class where we're talking about CMAs, but this is really helpful for CMAs because this way you can see, okay, well, prices change, trends change. I only want to see things that are going to be relevant for the prices that we want to sell things for today. You could set it to, 3 months, whatever, etc. But because I'm just going to be doing some basic searching today, not making a CMA, I'm going to unselect sold and sold not listed and set no days back. I just wanted to show you all how that works. We have talked about those required criteria. We've gone through the blue you must do criteria. Now let's talk about those green you should do at least a couple criteria. There are quite a few interesting ones in here. First up, I want to talk about acres versus lot size. Lot size is a required field when you're uploading a listing. That means that anything that's searchable is going to have a lot size applied to it. You're going to be able to search it by its lot size, going to be able to find that. Acres is not a required field unless the property is over 1 acre. So if you're searching for something over an acre, definitely a good field to use, good field to search by. But if you're looking for something smaller, I wouldn't recommend searching by acres because not all of them are going to have it filled out. It's not going to be a, required criteria for them. Bathrooms. I also would like to talk about those real quick because specifically about the way that we separate full bathrooms versus partial bathrooms. So see right here, it has a short little explanation about it. To search for partial baths, use a decimal. So we have the example 1.1 equals 1 full bathroom and 1 partial bathroom. So let's say we want to search for houses that have a minimum of 2 bathrooms and a maximum of 3 full bathrooms and 1 partial. So we're going to put that decimal point after our 3. And once that decimal point's down, the website knows on the left side of the decimal point, that is full bathrooms. And whatever's on the right side of the decimal point is going to be partials. So we put in that 1, and there it goes. It says, okay, now we know 3, separate them, 1. 3 full, 1 partial. Some people get a little confused and put 3.5 thinking that, it's a half bath, it's a partial bath. Put that 0.5 there, that means half a bathroom. No, that's going to be a house that has 3 full bathrooms and 5 partial bathrooms. I don't know about you, but I don't think I've seen any like that myself. So let's go ahead and just make sure it has the right thing put down. You can enter in whatever you want here, 3.2, whatever, etc. And you also don't have to fill out one side of this. Let's say we want to search everything that has up to 3 full, 2 partial, and leave that minimum blank. And now we're just searching everything up to 3.2. And it goes the other way as well. Maybe we want to search 3 and above. So now we're searching for everything that has 3 or more bathrooms. You can also include not specified. If somehow they did not have to specify how many bathrooms are in there, you can click that. And now it will also include listings where that was not specified. However, I like that 2 to 3.2. Seems like a pretty nice range to me. We'll click update. And now you can see right under that blue, that field is now, or our criteria is now listed right underneath the rest of them. And next up, let's search. I just want to talk about price real quick. This is not a required field for an advanced search. While it obviously is a really handy field to fill out, you definitely want to search within your client's range. Or if you're looking for a CMA within a range that is close to what you are hoping to sell your house in, you don't have to fill this out. You can leave it blank. Once again, it also does the same thing where you can leave one side blank. We can search, we only want to search for a maximum of 750,000. Just enter in whatever range you're looking for. Don't have to do it, but you can if you want. And you also can include if it's list/range price or auction price. But let's just go ahead and update. Once again, adds to our list right there. Good to go. Then after that, let's go ahead and fill out just a few other criteria. Let's say we're looking for at least 2 bedrooms, maximum of 4. And let's see. I think that's a pretty good amount of green fields right there for us for now. We could get more specific, but the more fields you put in here, the more specific you make your search, the less chance you have of actually finding the things you're looking for. Understandably, it makes sense to me. If you are running through and having a million criteria on here, you select all these green criteria, make it hyper-specific. There might not be a house that meets your hyper-specific needs. The market is not exactly flush with houses right now. So while you want to make sure you're looking for something that fits what you're looking for, don't make it too hyper-specific because you are most likely not going to find exactly what you're looking for if it is. Make sure, you're looking for what is going to fit your needs, but you keep it wide enough that you actually get listings. Now let's talk about these additional criteria here. Just like the green criteria, you definitely do not need to use all of these. And thank goodness you don't, because wow, there are a whole lot of them. Luckily, you don't have to just go through and scroll through all of that. You can use this handy dandy little filter here and type in whatever you're looking for, like let's say features. This way, now we only see the things in that list that say features. Like let's talk about exterior features first. This is a really popular criteria. And it also gives me a great opportunity to mention a few other buttons we have on here. So exterior criteria, there's some awesome ones in here, like especially RV hookup, RV parking, really popular in here. Second garage, if people are looking for that. Tool sheds, a lot of people want to have a tool shed or a workshop or some kind of, you want to make sure they have a yard. They've got kids and animals that want to go out and play. Go ahead and enter all of this in here. And at the top here, you'll see we have a couple more buttons. So by default, it's set to OR, which means when it runs our search, it's going to search for anything that has an RV hookup or RV parking. It only needs to fit one of these criteria for the website to say that's a match, you're good to go, put it in their search results. However, if we set it to and, now it's going to require every single criteria that we've marked to be selected for it to come up in our search results. So now it has to have both an RV hookup and RV parking, or else we're not going to see it in our search. It's going to get filtered out, sent out. We're not going to see it. We also have this not button. So I'm going to switch back to or real quick. Not is going to inverse our search. So now we're looking for anything that doesn't have an RV hookup or RV parking. We don't want those things. Anything that does have those are going to be specifically filtered out of our search. So you can use this to find things you want, but you can also use it to find things that they are extremely against. If they don't want it, you can make sure that those specific things get filtered out, sent out. No longer are you going to have to deal with that. I'm just going to cancel it here because I want to keep my search a little broad. And I also want to talk about interior features real quick because this is also a really popular one. We got auxiliary dwelling units under here. We've got elevators in here. We've got garage door opener, high ceilings, home theater, indoor pool. Lots of things that people really want to, people are looking out for. They really care about. They want to see vinyl flooring, different, water purifier, all sorts of stuff. If you have just random miscellaneous little indoor things that they're searching for, this is a great place to find that. I'm going to go ahead and cancel real quick and show you a few other. Another really common one that we get in our help desk is asking about, well, where, do we talk about type of terms? Well, just under terms right here. When you click on that, now we see cash, contract, conventional loans. This is where you find that. If you're saying, okay, I only want to find ones where people are taking cold hard cash. A lot of people love money, especially in the cash form. That's how you can find that. You've also got, if you're doing specific loans, if you're doing trades, you can search by all of those, lease options, etc. You can find that right there if they have specific financing requirements. And then just another handy one real quick. We also have primary bedroom. RMLS Web calls it a primary bedroom, not a master bedroom. So if you're looking for that and you're like, whoa, I don't see the master bedroom, where to go? That's because we call it the primary bedroom. Next up, one other additional criteria I like to show off and talk about are the remarks. So we have Public remarks. No branding allowed in public remarks. Those have to be able to be shown to just anyone. Public remarks has to be this kind of stuff that's safe to post on Facebook. No branding, no blah, 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 blah. Anything like that. You took our orientation. You know a lot of those rules. If you do want to get, caught up on some of them, we do have another class that does talk about that stuff. And we can also just have a handy dandy little document under our toolkit you could search up that has all of our rules. Go see that if you'd like. But you probably know by now, public stuff just has to not be branded. Private remarks, that's where the branded stuff can go. That's where that fun, here's my phone number, here's my email, here's my blah, 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 here's my, office, all that sort of stuff. All that branded stuff could go in there. Luckily, we also do have this combined remarks section, which is going to search both the remarks fields. So if you wanted to type in something and you don't want to limit yourself to one of those remarks sections, that is the way you can search in both of them. And let's see real quick. I think that's pretty much, I think that that's okay for our criteria. Like I said, we're going to keep it pretty broad today. This is just, a test for class. So we're not doing any really specific searches. I just want to make sure I'm going to get my results. So let's leave that open. And that's our criteria. That's, like I said, this is not as hard as it sounds. Simple and easy. We've got all of our criteria set. We have it told, our search knows what we are looking for. Now it's time for where are we looking for it. It knows, okay, we want 2 to 4 bedrooms. We want that many bathrooms. We want this price. But where do we want to hunt for this? We have 2 options for this. We have our MLS area where you can enter in an area number or click this area list to select them. But I am skimming through that for a reason. MLS areas are clunky. They are old. They can't really be, you can't search in specific areas except just what it has set. And they have kind of a racist history along with them. So we really recommend don't use MLS areas. They're not the way to go anymore. Especially because this map range button is so much better. Once you click this, you're going to see this familiar Google Maps, Apple Maps, if you've dealt with those, very familiar site where you see this whole map. I'm going to zoom in on Portland because that's kind of, where I'm used to. It looks like we have a few things automatically selected, so I'm just going to clear my map. There we go. Now there's nothing there. Portland is what I'm used to. I work at the Portland corporate office here, so this is my turf. This is what I know, but don't feel like you're limited to Portland in this search. You can search anywhere that's in RMLS on here, and it works the same no matter where. As long as it's an RMLS covered zone, you can search the same in any of these places. This is not limited to just Portland, even though that's where I'm going to be searching. We are going to talk, first actually, before I get into our drawing tools, I do want to mention this pan button should kind of be your default. If you just want to bounce around the map, look around, click and drag, search around, make sure you click that pan button. Otherwise, if you have draw or something else selected, you're going to be a little confused. It definitely caught me off guard at first when I was learning how to use this search. It's like, well, why am I not moving around? Well, it's because I have draw selected or edit selected, and it wants to click on things, not search around the map. We also have these handy dandy little zoom buttons on the side, and this location button will allow it to hop over and jump right to where your location is and find you there. I will also mention this a little later in the class too, but we also have a locate button. If I search in, let's go with my parents' house where I used to live, type in that, click on go, it's going to dash right on over there and drop a pin in that spot. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that pin in just a minute, but first I'm going to get started on our drawing tools. So when you click this draw button, it's going to open up a little tiny window that has these 6 options in it. I'm going to go through these one at a time, starting with the rectangle, which once again, another familiar tool, maybe not if you've used, mapping tools, but if you've ever opened MS Paint, Paint.net, all those other little, Photoshop, any of those tools, you're probably pretty familiar with a tool like this. When I click, it's going to place our rectangle, and we can click and drag and stretch it and make a little rectangle area where we want to search. And then when we let go, when we click again, there we go. Now we have a rectangle. This big blue thick line is our outline. of the rectangle, and everywhere green inside, that is where we are searching. So we can make some edits. You see it after we make a shape, it immediately selects the edit tool. If we go to pan or something, or click on edit again, and then click on it, we could go ahead and make edits anytime. See these little rectangle or squares on the corners? We can click and drag those to change the shape of our rectangle. Maybe we want to change where we're looking. Just click and drag really easily. And this little diamond in the center allows us to move the whole rectangle. So maybe we just want to move it entirely. Boom, there we go. Now we changed our searchable area. Super duper easy. And real quick, I'm going to go back to talk about the pin and the rectangle real quick. So we have this little 3 lines hamburger button. And when you click on that, it's going to open up a list of all of our pins and all of our shapes. Super duper easy. We can go to our pin. So let's say, we're far across the map. We want to get back to our pin. If you open that, click go to, it'll hop on over. It also allows us to do a drive time search from there. We'll talk about that a little later. We can delete the pin, or we can do a mile radius search right from that pin. We can also immediately click on our shapes to go ahead and edit them or delete them as well. Let's go ahead and delete this. And we can delete that, super easy too. I'm going to use that later to talk about how to do a radius search, but right now we don't need that. We're done with it. Let's move on to our next draw tool, which is the circle. Very similar to our square. You can click and then it will create this circle. And when you move your mouse, you can make it bigger or smaller, set your searchable area. When you click again, your circle is set. And just like the rectangle, when we edit it, the square will allow us to change its shape, grow it or shrink it as we please. And the diamond will allow us to move it around, bouncing around our map, choose where I want to place it if we want to place it somewhere else. We also, real quick, can draw multiple shapes. Before I go on to the next one, I just want to show you a few things with this. We could set this rectangle right here, make our square rectangle thing, place it on the map. And now we're searching within multiple searchable areas. So you can really set an area of your perfect choosing, make it look as, wide, as small, as wonky of a shape as you want, search whatever you're looking for. And just want to mention these 3 buttons right here. Exclude. This is going to watch as we have this blue outline around our rectangle. When I click that, it turns red. So now anywhere within this red outline, we are not searching. So our circle still being searched all around here, but this chunk that the rectangle leaks into, we're no longer searching in there. That's not going to bring up any results that drop up in there because we're telling it, no, we don't want anything in that. That's an excluded zone. We also have, mention it back to included, union versus intersection. You can only select one of these, and they give you a little bit of a hint of what they do based on this picture next to them. Union searches anywhere within any of these green areas. So anywhere within this rectangle and anywhere within this circle, it's going to search for any listings that match our criteria within anywhere here. If we change it to intersection, however, only where our shapes interlap are we going to get results. This is setting it so we only want, specifically where they, intersect with each other. And this is, you might think, why do I need this? I could just draw my specific area. There's definitely a great use case for it. I'll show you a little bit later when we hop into our drive time tool. So let's go in. I'm going to delete these. And goodbye to our rectangle and our circle. And let's go over to the next one. Polygon and freehand. This is kind of, I think of them as the same tool. They're sister tools. However, Polygon is better if you're using a mouse or something like that. Freehand is much better if you have a tablet you're drawing on, or you've got one of the laptops with a pen where you can draw across it. Very different, very similar tools, but very different, in the way that you'll see. Watch. So when I start with my polygon, first place I click, we're going to get a rectangle. And then when I click and drag, you see that line. And wherever I click, it's going to place an anchor point, and we can make our own custom shape that fits whatever we want to search. So we only want to search this really specific area right here. I can absolutely go ahead and make it fit whatever I want it to. Looks like I accidentally right clicked, which finished my shape for you, but it shows you, you can really set whatever you want, and you can even, when you click edit, move those around and change it. Maybe we want to see that. We want to, no problem at all to change your shape afterward, make edits to it, super duper easy. And you can even remove it, move it around however you want, just like any other shape. Super handy. This is the mouse and keyboard version of. I really appreciate this with mouse and keyboard. However, let's talk about that freehand. And let me tell you, I am on a mouse and keyboard, so my freehand probably isn't going to look great. But wherever you click and drag your mouse, this is just going to be like drawing with a little pen. That's why I recommend it if you're using your finger. Click and drag, and it follows your mouse and draws wherever you want to search. And you can make sure you leave areas out, just like the other tool. And then when you make it back, you click on there. Now that's our drawn area. This one is a little bit harder to edit afterward because you see it's got a lot of anchor points, a lot of spots where you can change it, but easy to just delete it. And then maybe you want to redraw a new one, freehand again. And I could just use my finger here this time. I do have a touch screen. Draw a little shape. There we are. That's where we're searching now. But don't want to use that because it's going to be really messy because of my quick draw right there. Next up, we have drive and boundary. But before we get into either of those, I want to cover a few things. So ignore drive time for now. What we're going to talk about is leading us into using the boundary tool. Close that draw tool, open pan instead. And you see we have these 3 layered pieces of paper right here. This is our layers tool. And when you click that, we have a whole bunch of layers available, like MLS area, zip code, city, elementary schools, all sorts of stuff. Let's turn on our neighborhoods layer real quick. And when we zoom out, now we see we have all of our neighborhoods. We can see, oh, there's Woodstock, there's Kenilworth, there's Reed. All of these are laid out super handy, so you can see what's where and where you're searching. But if we go over to the draw tool and select boundary, it's going to present us with a few of our different layers that we have available. And when you click on them, like let's click on, we just looked at neighborhoods, let's click on that. It'll bring up our neighborhoods again. However, this time, if we click on them, it's going to select them as our searchable areas now. And you can select multiple. Let's do Foster, Powell, Mount Scott, Creston, Kenilworth, and Woodstock. And once again, sorry about this lag here. My internet is just being a little slow today. All right, there we go. So now you see they have the blue outlines around them. Now these are our searchable areas instead. So you don't even have to draw. You could just go ahead, select one of those layers and make them your searchable area. And we have our blue boundaries that separate what we're searching in. We can kind of see that, but you might think, okay, there's still a lot of colors on here. It's a little mind flooding. We just open our layers tab and click on neighborhoods. That's going to turn that off. And now we only see our searchable areas in there. Super duper easy. Love that. Honestly, it makes it so much easier. And just like any other searchable areas, we can edit and delete them. But unfortunately, because we're searching in a specific set thing like a neighborhood, we can't stretch and change those borders because they're set. Can't really do anything about that. However, let's talk about drive time. First up, before we do that, let's set a location. So first up, we have my parents' house. So go ahead, enter that in the locate, click go. We're going to open that drop down again. First up, talk about a mile radius search. This is, appraisers use this a lot, but people like to search for, I want to see within this many miles for a CMA. Enter in 2. Now it knows it's going to search a 2-mile radius. And when you click that blue text, it automatically draws our circle for us. And now we're searching for everything within a 2-mile radius of our location. Boom, super awesome, super easy to do. However, I want to talk about drive time because drive time is really, really awesome. So let's say, this is, might place it right there. Oh, that's correct. It's got it in the right spot. I'm just still waking up maybe. So draw, it turned our location into our drive time mark, that little orange marker you see there. Now when we click drive time, it's going to search from that marker And we can say, okay, so I get off work at 5, so depart at 5, or I want to, yeah. But let's say I want to be able to make it to here within 15 minutes at 5 p.m. Or 5, oh, I said 5 a.m. Definitely not 5 a.m. 5 p.m. Where'd you go? There it is. So I want to be able to make it here within 15 minutes at 5 p.m. Fair. Click calculate. And it's just taking a second here. It grabs this information from INRIX, as you can see here. And this information is based off of, information that they get from trucks moving throughout the area, from road signs, from map data all over the place, grabs all that information and updates it constantly so we know the best guesstimate. And we could scroll out and say, all right, here's everywhere that we could get to this place within 15 minutes at 5 p.m. Super handy, super easy. And this is where that intersection tool is going to come in. So we can get there within 15 minutes. And let's say we want to also be able to get to my friend's place as well. We want to be able to, we visit a lot. We want to make sure that we can get to here. Maybe we have something we do at a specific time. We get together every week. So we want to be able to make sure that we can get there within, say, 5 minutes at 5 p.m. We can calculate that, click on that, and it gives us everywhere we can get within 5 minutes to get there. You see how they overlap a little bit. Now we could do intersection. Now we're searching only where our two drive time shapes intersect, and we're going to be able to get to both those places within the times that we're hoping for. Makes sense to me. Super easy, super handy. That way we're making sure we're only, getting places within our commute distance. So now I've gone through all of the drive tools, all of this, intersection stuff, all that. We've got all that figured out. I think we're feeling pretty ready to run our search. However, there's a few things I want to talk about before we run our search. First off, we have save range. If we go ahead and click this save range button, this is going to save the shapes we've drawn on the map and allow us to open that again later, pop it open, get back to that range. Maybe we only work in a specific area and this is the area we want to always have. We want to have it set. You could save that range, pop it back later. That way you can add new criteria to that, search that area as much as you want. You can also save the entire search by clicking the save as. Maybe you want to save it for later. You click that. This allows you to save it, give it a little name. There's no requirements for what the name is, but just make sure it's something that you'll be able to recognize. So I'll set it to testing 7.1, click OK. Save successfully, which means now whenever we go to our save section, we have that testing 7.1. We click on that. It's going to run back and we can save our search. Super duper easy. I really, really love how handy it is to just be able to keep those searches for later. And now, okay, I've talked about saving them. Let's talk about actually running them. Before you run any search anywhere on RMLS Web, I always recommend you hit this count button. When you do this, it's going to run a little search, and it's going to let you know how many results you have. Woof, we got a whole 1 result. That's not a lot. That's not enough for me. Not going to be able to get, very much out of that. So let's say maybe we want to broaden it a little bit. We could go ahead and do something like change it to union, and that way we'd get everything in here because you see we have these blue dots and then these brown dots. These brown dots are things that meet all of our criteria but are just not in our range. So let's go ahead, we'll say union instead, and we'll do a count. Boom, 145 results now. Much better. That's just a way to tell maybe I need to broaden my results. I'd mentioned things can get too specific. The market is not exactly flush with houses. So if you're not getting enough results, Maybe draw another shape somewhere on the map. Maybe change one of your settings. Maybe edit a criteria, make it less strict. That way you can hopefully catch more fish, find what you're looking for. I'm gonna go ahead and move on. Hit that search button and that's gonna run our search. And I've got 145 results, so it might take just a second to load, but here we are. We can see we've got a one-line summary of all of the listings that match our criteria and are in our space that we've set. It is sorted by the status, so we can see we have our actives here. And if we scroll down, because they're mostly actives, we also have our bumpable buyers. Looks like we didn't get any short sale pendings, but if we did, they'd be below our bumpable buyers. And then, sold not listed, if we had those, etc., would all be below that. You go ahead, just search, all your criteria are all going to be separated out like that. Super duper handy. Now let's talk about our headers real quick. You can click on any of these to sort it by that. So we could sort it by our MLS number, ascending, descending, photos, type, address, city, price, whatever we have set, you could go ahead and sort it by that. And we have a few different headers right here that I would just want to mention what they are. MLS number should be pretty straightforward. We all have a pretty good idea of what an MLS number is, I'm sure. Photos, that's what that P stands for. This is the number of photos here. If we go ahead and click on that number as well, we could go ahead and see all of the photos. Super handy. Nice and quick way to pop that open and view all those results. We have property type, address, the city, the MLS area, the amount of bedrooms, amount of bathrooms, approximate square feet, and the price. Those are all of our basic headings right there. However, we also have these colorful little buttons right here that I will just talk about real quick. That will start a radius search. That way you can search for X amount of miles from this exact listing, pops a pin down at that address and allows us to search all in there, find what we can find. That's going to open the tax report for this listing as well. So you can either watch list that tax report or view all that tax information, whatever you want to see on that. That's where you can access all of that information. H is the history. This is one of the many ways that we make sure to encourage clear cooperation and working together and playing fair. If you open this history, you can see any status changes, any price changes, all sorts of anything that changed on that listing. You can view all that there. You can, as an example, just hop on in and see. Look at that. We can see all the price changes. Looks like the price has gone up and down a few different times here. Always been the same agent in the same office though. A few different status changes. It was withdrawn once, it was expired once, went back to active. It's been through a little bit. But pretty interesting. You can see all of that history there. And then at any time, just hit that back, sends you right back. Then we also have the street map, which when you click on, it's just going to open a new window that shows you the location of it on the map, and you can search around and view the nearby area. This is a really handy way if you want to find what neighborhood it's in, what part area it's in. If you have a custom column set that doesn't show those, we'll get into that a little later. Nice and easy way to find that out. Then after that, I don't care about the weather, computer, please close that. There we are. Next to that, we have a few other buttons right here. RPR link, realtor.com professional search, and a showing time search. Super duper easy to access any of those three at any time. And then we also have this little plus button right here. This, when you click on this, is going to show some additional details: county and neighborhood, acres, elementary school and high school. You can see the acres are not filled out because it's not a required field unless it's above an acre. But you can also open all of the details for all of the listings you have in your search using a handy dandy button that I will show you in a little bit here. But before we do that, I'm going to talk about these buttons in the top right. First off, we have print. Print is, as it says, it just gives you a printer-friendly view that can be printed right from there. This is a lot of colors in it. You don't want to print all that color all the time. It wastes money. That will just give you the printer-friendly, easy view. Revise search. Revise search is the way to go back. You can theoretically hit that back button and go back to your search that way, but that's not friendly to your browser to do that on such a dense website that is a database holding so much information. It's going to slow your browser down. It's going to slow our website down. It's just going to cause some, just general chunkiness that you don't want to have to deal with. If we hit that revise search, that's the easier way to do it. Then takes us back to our search, like I mentioned, and we could go back, easily get back to our results by clicking search, but that way you could go back, change your criteria, change your map range. If you wanted to make some changes, that's where you could go ahead and do that. Select report. This is where we have a whole wide variety of reports to look at. I do want to mention right here, when you click that, it's going to automatically select all your records because the records selected are what it's going to generate a report for. If you only want to select a few ones, you can unselect them. Go ahead and click, maybe only deal with these. And now when we generate our reports, it's only dealing with the ones we have selected. It only auto selects all records if you don't have any selected when you go ahead and click that button. Super easy. But we have quite a few reports right here, as you can see, CMA report, export to cloud CMA or export. We have our agent specific reports, that full dense information with branded stuff for you agents to see. Our client reports that have the, specialized information that you can show your clients, send it out. We also have a client full in Spanish, super handy. A lot of people, more comfortable getting a report in their native language. So we have that there in case you have a Spanish speaker who wants to be able to, read that in a language they're more comfortable with. And we also have a few different miscellaneous reports. Summary only in comparison are really, really great for our CMAs. Also just, fun to, look at the information next to each other in general. But we have quite a few awesome ones here. I recommend you play with them a little bit more yourself if you want to see what they're like. There is some great information you can glean from that. All records, as the name implies, is going to check all of the records or uncheck all of the records. When you click that, super easy. Add to CMA. This is an easy way to just immediately add these as comparables on a CMA. Maybe you've got an existing CMA profile. You want to add these records to the CMA. You click the ones you want, select them. Maybe these three are perfect for you. You want to get them as comparables. Click the add to CMA button. It's going to ask you either if you want to, add them to an existing CMA. You can just slap them right on there, get them on there, or create an entirely new CMA right from there, starting with these as comparables right on them. So nice and easy. Map checked, when you open that, is going to open up a new window with a map in it that has the prices, MLS numbers, and positions of all of the listings that you've checked on there. This checked button is going to separate it. So now we are only seeing the listings that we've checked. We separated it out. Now we're only seeing the ones we want to see. However, we can always get back to the full list by clicking show all. And really quickly, boom, sets us right back, shows us all of the listings again, all of the ones that appeared in our search. That way you can kind of isolate some and look at some that you're interested in and go back at any time. No worries at all. We also have this specific order tool, which if you click that, then you can select, let's say, we have a ranking number. We say, okay, well, I know these 5 are perfect for, or these 5 are great for the customer, but I think this one's best. This one notes second, third. This one's kind of fourth, and this one right here I think is the least likely, but we want to, include it anyway. You select those and you see those numbers next to them. Now, when we hit check, it's going to look at only the ones we set, but it reordered them. So the one we set to first appears first, and the one we set fifth appears fifth. Makes sense. They appear in the order we want. Super handy. I love that. This is a great way to show, comparables on a CMA listed in the order you want. Or if you think these listings are going to be great for them, you can order them. Here's number one. Number one, I think you're going to love it. I think you're going to fall in love. Check it out. This one's best. Number 5, I still think you're going to like it, but it's not quite as flashy or perfect as number 1 is. So really easy way to separate them out in a way that you want to show them exactly. Once these load, the next thing I'm going to show you is this show summary button. When we click this, no immediate changes, but if you scroll down to the bottom of our statuses, you'll see these big gray boxes. And this is a handy dandy automatic little math tool for you. It grabbed the average days on market, median days on market, average square feet, median square feet, average list price, median list price, and average list price for square feet. Pasted that all there after it did the math, grabbed it for us. So now we can get kind of a bird's eye overview of what that looks like. You know, oh, well, it looks like the average is kind of about 44, where the median is only 29. Interesting, less than a month. That's not long. However, the average list price and median list prices, those check out. They're pretty close together like that. Doesn't surprise me at all. Pretty interesting information you can grab right there. And it gives you it based on all the different statuses. So we can also see it for pumpable buyers as well. Looks like we're getting some pretty similar information to our active listings as well. Makes sense. However, the prices are definitely a little bit bigger here. Everything's actually a little bit bigger except for the average days on market and median days on market. Interesting. But you can also just click that to get it out of there if you don't want to see it as well. Then we have show detail. I mentioned this plus button right here. This is a show detail for a singular listing. You click this, it opens it for all of our listings. If you just want to be able to see that information at all times, click that, expand that, view all of that right there. Finally, we also have this show new construction, just like show summary. You didn't see any immediate changes. But if we scroll down to the bottom, now we can view all of the new construction listings as well. If you want to be able to see those, you just click that, scroll to the bottom. Those will all be listed right there. Super easy to find. Now, that is all of our list view, except there is something really, really awesome that we can do with it that I'll get into after we talk about detail view. Detail view gives us automatically generated reports for all of the listings we were looking at. So you get the little listing right here with the image, its price, and you can scroll through, view all this information right here. Maybe you want some more detailed info. You go in, hop in here, look at them. A little harder to search through all of them because it's just listing it all right here. But if you went to list view and specified a few of them, checked them, then you could go to detail view and look at the more detailed information for only the ones you want to see. Super duper easy. You can also go through and look at all of the different, you could just view the photos, just view the map, view the agent abbreviated, view the client full, easily just look at any of those reports right there. Super handy. All right, let's go back to list view. Let's talk about, I mean, mentioned them a few times, custom columns. You might have seen this little button right here, this view with the drop down that says default next to it. So this drop down right here, I've got a few different ones set. What this is going to do, it might seem a little crazy at first, but when I click it, click show, we're getting an entirely different information listed here. You know, we still have MLS number. Photos is now completely spelled out. We have our exterior right here, exterior features. We've got type over here, cities over here. Everything's all jumbled around. Wild. That's because you can click this new button at any time, get this new window open. And what this does is this is going to allow you to make your own custom columns, your own setup, your own way to view all of this information. So real quick, first things first, if it's blue, you must do. Got to fill that out. So it has to have a report name. While it's required to have a report name, there is no requirements for what to name it. Just once again, make it something that you will recognize very easily. So let's call it custom columns class 7-1. That way it's pretty recognizable. Now, all of these fields, you see when I mouse over them, we get this little cross with the arrows on it. I can click and drag anywhere I want. So we could put photos at the end, price at the front. And you see, as I do this at the bottom, we have this little preview. It shows us what it's going to look like. So we can just move it around, make it look however we want. Maybe we don't care about MLS area. We'll put that after photo. Bounces around, and you can edit and alter this to show you it in whatever order you want. And on top of that, maybe there's a few things you don't care about in your search. Let's say right now, we don't care about bedrooms and bathrooms. Click and drag, drop those right in the side here where it says available fields. And now we see those aren't showing up at all in our preview. And we could also say, you know, oh, let's see, we want someone who they're interested in. Let's go with, they want to know the style of the house they're seeing. Drop that in there. Could also say, let's see terms. We want to see our terms. That's an important one. Drop that over right next to price. Now we can see that right there. We can also choose our alignment right next to this. So, you know, we want to put it in the middle. We want to put it in the left. Move all that around, whatever you want to do, whatever makes it look the most aesthetically pleasing to you. It allows you to change and alter and move that around, make it look however you want. So handy, so easy. I really, really love. But yeah, that allows you to just set that up, see what you want to see, move it around, alter it in the way you want. So customizable. So little things some people here say is, you know, it's called RMLS because it's our MLS, and you know, it's customizable and we make it work for all of our subscribers. So we can go through, set that as much as we want, edit the main line. And then once we're done with that and it's looking good and we have it how we want, go over to detail. And remember that plus button, the show detail button. This is where we can edit that information as well. We can choose if we want to include a thumbnail photo in there. I really like to do that, as well as a map. It'll show you the point on the map where it's located. We could choose if we want it aligned to the left, the center, or the right. I like to do the left. It, you know, aesthetically pleasing for me, but whatever looks best for you. You could choose whether or not it shows detail as default. If you have that selected, then as soon as you run your search with this, it will all already have that detail open. It's easy to open or close it with that button still, but you could choose whether or not it opens by default. Rows per page for printing when detail is shown. Just easily choose that, how many rows it shows. 4 is the default, but you could set it to whatever you want. 5, 6, 2, whatever floats your boat. Customizable. That's what we love. And then just like the main line, we can move and alter and edit anything here in this detail field as well. Set it so we're seeing what we want to see. We can create new lines wherever we want. Make it on every single one so you have this, you know, obnoxious looking one right there. Whatever you want to see, however you want to edit it, totally change it. Just like anything else, you can also click and drag and move them out of here. But what's really handy too, I didn't mention it, is if I move something out of the detail field, so I got rid of county, like you just saw, go back to the main field, we can put county over in the main line now. So now we're seeing that here. Maybe we care about that a lot. We want to add that in there. Now it's there. Now it's added to that section. We're going to see it in there. Back to our detail field, just like that other main line, we can go ahead and add things in here. Maybe we want to see if it has HOA dues. We want to see if it has, you know, let's see, any other dues. We could add that in there. We could add the owner name and owner phone number, all this stuff, whatever you want to add in there. Plug it in, and now we are going to have that information viewable in our detail line. Lastly, before I go ahead and make my view, we also have our options. Really simple. It's just choose whether or not you want to see a grid line. But yes or no, once again, it's just a little aesthetic thing, whatever you choose. And then from here, you can either reset it to the default, set it back to a default view. It's just if you're like, never mind, I changed my mind, I want to go back. Cancel, we'll close out the window and delete this view. And save is going to save the view, create as one of our own, and refresh the page, showing us our newly created view right there. See that in the order we want. We have the price right there, terms right there, type right here, all of it in the way we want. Click that show detail. Now we see those photos. We see the high school, see the owner phone number and owner name, all that information right there. So handy, so awesome. I really love how much you can really customize all of this. So you can also just change your views at any time by clicking this drop down and selecting another view and just going, okay, we'll show this one instead. And when you click on one of these views, you can go ahead and edit as well. So that way, if you wanted to make a change to it, hop in, make some quick changes, set something a different way, Easy peasy. RMLS Web will always remember the last view that you used. So whenever you want to search, it will go back to that most previous usually used view. Automatically already have that set. Now, I do want to mention, I did forget one thing. If you click on the MLS numbers here, just like that detail view, it's going to bring you to that report for the page. You can view all of its information here, view that detailed information. You don't only have to go to the detailed view to see this. And if you click that results button right here, that takes you right back to your search results. Super duper easy. So now, prospecting profiles. First up, I want to mention, if you are going to be running a prospecting profile, prospecting profiles only grab things that appear or that are posted in the future. So anything currently existing on RMLS Web will not be sent out in an email to your prospecting client. It's your duty to grab anything currently on the market and send it their way. Prospecting profiles just mine for anything that gets posted in the future, catches it in a net, sends it out to them in an email after that. But you just have to make sure you do that initial first send out of anything that matches what they're looking for. Prospecting profiles can easily be created from the advanced search page. So we've got our search here. We like this search. Our customer likes this search. We're ready to go. On the top right of the screen, we have this new prospect button. When you click that, it's going to take you to basically what I like to think of as an Are You Sure page. It's going to show us our search again. This time with some, less results in the top right. You see, you don't have that new prospect button. This is kind of where it's like, okay, do you want to make any last minute changes to your search? Maybe you want to do, 2 to 5 bedrooms, or maybe you want to do blah, 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 whatever. Maybe you want to switch to intersection now. Whatever works for them, go ahead. You can set that here. And then when you're ready, go ahead and click Save As. This part is a little bit more important than naming anything else that I've shown in this class, because prospecting profiles, not all of them, because you can turn it off, and I'll show you how, but can be publicly viewed. So if you enter in a client's name, a client's phone number, a client's email address, anything like that, people who are doing reverse prospecting are going to be able to see your client's info right in there. And if they are a particularly sketchy or lame, or I don't know, if they're a doo-doo person that we don't like, they're going to go ahead and circumvent you and go contact your client yourself, because they have that information there. They don't have any reason to talk to you. They're going to think, oh, well, why should I play by the rules? I could make much more money if I just contact them myself. Not cool. So make sure you don't put any of your client's information in here. Just put something that's going to make it clear to you. You could put just their first name. Just make it so it's something that they can't, easily find. So let's say their first name is fake name, test profile 71. So there we go. We have that in there. Not too identifying, so other people can't reach out and find them, but we are going to be able to tell it out from the rest really, really easily. So go ahead, when we click OK, that's going to take us to setting up our prospecting profile. So here, right here, we have the option to block reverse prospecting. I'm going to set it to yes, because this is a fake prospecting profile and I don't want to get anyone's hopes up. But reverse prospecting, I do suggest you leave on, because people can do reverse prospecting searches to search for prospecting profiles and see what they're looking for, see the criteria. Maybe they have a house that has been up for a little while and they see a prospecting profile and they say, whoa, this person is looking for exactly what I have, and they didn't catch my house during their first initial search. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to email that agent, let them know, hey, I have something I think your clients would love. I think this will be perfect for them. Here's some details. Here's the listing. Please check it out. I think it could be awesome. Reverse prospecting is great. You could get some really, really awesome stuff through that. Find the perfect house that way. So I really recommend you keep it on. But because of that, people being able to search prospecting profiles, that's why we have that, suggestion not to put any of the identifying details for your client in there, because you just don't want the rug pulled out from under you. It's not cool. It's not fair. We try to prevent that as much as possible, but there's not a lot we can do sometimes there, unfortunately. Next up, we have to add our client. So right now we have our prospecting profile. It's going to mine these houses, but right now we don't have anyone out that they're or anyone set up that they're going to go out to. Not really helpful if it's not doing anything like that. So click that add new contact. It's going to present us with our whole list of all the clients we have either in our contact manager or that we've entered in before, but we want to do a new one just to show you the process. So once again, if it's blue, you must do. So these blue fields have to be filled out. So let's go ahead and enter something in here like, I don't know, I like this. So we've got our name in here. We have a spot to enter in some more details, address, city, etc., all of this, but none of it is required except for the first name. However, part of the whole idea behind a prospecting profile is to email the results out to someone. And if you don't enter an email, how's it going to send it out? So while the email is not a required field for a contact, you must have an email set for the auto email function to work. So we're going to go ahead and put in an email here. So let's just there we go. Got something fake in there that's not actually going to send any surprise emails to someone who is not expecting it. And then you also have to click this checkbox here, which is kind of like the permission to go ahead and send out the auto emails. Because even though it has the email in here, you still have to click this button to say, yes, please, I want those auto emails sent, do that. And then you go down here. Once again, just have another spot to enable or disable the auto emails. Just another button right there. Then we have the email days, a required field. At least one is required to be able to send out these auto emails. In a market where tons of houses are being posted all the time and they're got longer days on markets, things sit around a little bit more, I recommend, you could go ahead and say, oh, maybe I only want Tuesday, Wednesday emails. But in a fast moving market like this, less than a month, sometimes houses go in less than a week. You want to make sure that you are getting emails all the time. You don't want to miss any of those dream houses. It sucks to be like, well, this house was posted Friday and sold on Monday, but we, only get emails Tuesday, Wednesday, so we didn't see it. Definitely a bummer. I recommend you get as many emails out as possible. I know that it can feel a little bit much, but it's so helpful to be able to actually catch those as they get up. We also have whether or not you want to receive one email a day or multiple per day. Multiple per day is going to grab them and catch the results and send them out throughout the day as they show up. Once per day is just going to send one bulk email with all of them in the morning at I think 4 or 5 a.m., something like that. So once again, multiple per day is better when things are going fast, but once per day, not the worst. It's not going to hurt. CC is going to decide whether or not you receive a copy of these emails as well. I like to get them. It's really handy. It's nice to be able to get that information as well, so you can look at their emails and see exactly how they are, but not required. We could choose what type of report it sends them in. So you have all these options here, including that client full Spanish as well. So you can go ahead and select whatever your customer wants to see, whatever you think will be most helpful for them. Just leave it basic client full. You could choose whether or not to show your banner in the header of your report. This is something in your user preferences under the help section. You can set up a little banner that has your photo and your company and all that. Very cute, very handy information. Go ahead and put that on there, get something really nice looking on there, or choose whether to just not include it at all. Email subject. This is a required field because if we just set in some automatic email subject, spam filters would say nope and send it off into the void. Spam filters are great. They're necessary. They're awesome. I love them. I make use of them all the time, but they do sometimes catch things that are not spam and throw them that way. So we want to make sure that you put something in here that is going to catch the eye. The client doesn't think it's spam. Gmail doesn't think it's spam. So get something really clear and obvious that it is, important and they need to check it out. I have always stuck to a tried and true. I think this works perfectly. I don't see how anyone could mistake that for a scam. So Definitely not spam email. Just get something really obvious like that in there. And then it sends out, they'll know, oh, this is important. I need to click on that. Good to go. Then we have a space for if you want to add any additional email text to the body of the email, and if you want to include your signature as well. Yes or no, quick and easy. Then you could save, and now we go. Now that contact is added, we could go ahead and remove them, make any changes and save them, or see a history of any emails sent to them. We can also add a secondary client here. They'll just need to fill out the same information. However, I do want to suggest, if you say, okay, they're a husband and wife duo, they both want to receive emails, I'm just going to go ahead and put the wife's email in email 2 for the husband's contact information. And I strongly suggest not doing that, because for one contact, if any of these 3 emails unsubscribe from the emails, all of them do. That's just the way it works. That's the way that the system handles it. So if you have multiple people that all want to receive those emails, create a secondary contact. Don't want to put a second email on the same contact and risk, oh, okay, well, one person unsubscribed. Now all 3 people or both the people or whoever is signed up on there are all not receiving emails. That's not good. That's, not fun, bad times ahead. So go ahead and add multiple clients, because that is the way to go. Next up, let's go ahead and save and go ahead. Our prospecting profile is done. Easy as that. Now, whenever any listings go out that fit totally real names information, it's going to grab that, send it out to them, email them it. We're going to get that information sent right to them in an automatic email. Super handy. We do also have this prospecting dropdown. You can see I have this big red 5 next to prospecting, kind of like a Facebook style notification that shows you how many new hits your prospecting profiles have. So 5 of my different profiles all have hits. That's a pretty good number if you ask me. Go ahead and see prospecting profiles, reverse prospecting. That's where you can go ahead and do that and do our watch list. See, 5 new profiles, or 5 new information. 5 profiles have new information. There we go. Got a little tongue-tied for some reason there. And you can see when they have new listings, get this little checkbox next to them. So you can click that checkbox, clear the matches if you want, or just go ahead and click that new. And that new will allow you to go ahead and, there you go, view all those new matches that have shown up since the last time you've seen it, and see if they match what you want to do. If they're really perfect, go ahead, see them yourself and say, whoa, I saw this on one of your prospecting profiles. I think this is perfect. Check this out. Really easy, really handy. I love it. And then you can just clear the matches when you're done. When you've seen them, you'll get rid of them. All good to go. But you have to make sure you have seen them, else it's not going to let you clear them. Then we have a few different things we could do. We can go ahead and run a search using those criteria immediately. Super easy. And now we're getting all of everything that matches what we're looking at. Since I set it to that intersection again, we only get that one that you saw before. And we have a few different sections here that you can use to edit things. So we have criteria. This will allow you to alter the criteria if you want to change the prospecting profile. You can rename the prospecting profile, change the contacts tied to the prospecting profile, completely delete it if you're done with it, or disable it. If they're going on vacation, they don't want to receive emails for a week, you could disable it, set it back, and then they're good to go. You also probably saw this little orange flag here. This, despite what you might think, oh, red flag, something wrong, something's bad. No. For some reason up here, this red flag means everything's good to go. That means everything's fine. You're all caught up. Everything's perfect. Really a little strange to imagine at first, but that red flag is what you want to see. And if they're disabled, you're just going to see these 2 hyphens next to it. Pretty easy. There we go. So once it's disabled, I will go over that real quick. Oh, no, once it's deleted, sorry, I will go over that real quick. It purges your deleted ones every 30 days. So after it's been in for 30 days, it's gone, deleted. But you can, if you want, before those 30 days go by and it's purged, pull things out of your deleted, put them back, and restart them again. Maybe someone was like, oh, I don't want to buy a house anymore. Things are bad. I don't want to, or, my money is not as good as I thought, blah, 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 blah. Delete it. And then a week later, they're like, oh, no, change my mind. I'm good to go. I do want to go on my house search again. You go back, grab the prospector profile again, bring it back to life, and there it is. Good to go. So, last thing I just want to talk about real quick is you cannot have coming soon no showings set as a status for prospecting profiles. I don't have enough time to go through and show you what happens if you do, but the website will immediately have your prospecting profile disabled and tell you that you need to remove CSNs from it. Otherwise, it will not allow you to send out any emails, use your prospecting profile, search matches, anything like that, because CSNs cannot be shown publicly. If you guys have any other questions after the class, there are a few great ways you can reach out to us. We have our live chat. This is open 8 to 5, except we are closed during the lunch hour, noon to 1. And this will connect you with real people, real agents. Me or other trainers are always sitting in this chat, no robots. If you go in, enter this live chat, ask a question, one of us will pick up and help you as much as you need to figure out the answer and get you all sorted out. We also have, under the contact us section, phone number for our help desk or an email for our help desk. Once again, me and plenty of other trainers are always sitting in this help desk ready to answer any questions you may have. Happy to help out. We're here sitting in, waiting for your calls, always here. You can see the hours right here, Monday to Thursday, 8 to 7, Friday, 8 to 5, and Saturday, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. So we're here to help you for quite a good amount of hours. So, Sundays we take off, and I believe holidays like the upcoming 4th of July on Monday, it is closed. We also have plenty of other contact information here. You have payment assistance information, data accuracy and questions, all sorts of stuff. Want to call one of the offices, it's all right here. We also have, under help, our training registration. And through training registration, you can take plenty of other classes just like this one to learn all sorts of information about either RMLS Web or some of the third-party tools we have. But we also have the ability to sign up for a virtual one-on-one, which is an hour with one of our trainers. We'll set up and talk to you, solve any questions we have. This way we can, screen share with you, view what you've got going on your screen, access your account, and see anything we can do to help you figure out any issue. This is the most in-depth, awesome way to get your issues sorted or to learn something. If you're like, okay, well, this one part of RMLS Web really confuses me. If I could get an hour of just like in-depth learning about it, this is where to go. Super happy to teach you any information you need. It's a great way to learn more. So I'm going to let you all free now. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. Enjoy your long weekend and enjoy your 4th of July. And I'll hope to see you in future classes.